The inability to separate oneself from that which is evil, or to be able to call it out, simple and plain, is blasphemy. Attempting to cover oneself from hiding based on the choices they made is blasphemy. You can't pretend as if the awakening or the ascensions is all connected with those who are trying to block the ascensions. Maybe insofar as the lesson, the experience, right? The choice to pull away and separate from those who are trying to block. But to say that, you know, it's all good, that we're all incorporated and that we all keep one foot in and one foot out and intermingle, and that those who intentionally set out to block these ascensions and to maintain the status quo is, all normal and fine and really coming from within us. What's coming from within us is the urge, the inkling, the nudges from the divine, our spirit team, to get us on the right track, to be in alignment, in accordance with divine planning in our ascensions. If that is a natural, scientific, biological, pull, then we are to align with the energy at hand, opposed to saying that the choice to play both sides and be a part of these sinister, corrupt criminal networks and organizations that literally sacrifice innocent souls so they can maintain the status quo, lie, cheat, and steal so they can get ahead. These sellouts, weak-minded clowns in society who sell their soul to become a part of these demonic cults and covens and criminal organizations is not coming from within me. It's not where my heart is leading me or taking me or getting me to understand that it's a positive result or a positive thing that is necessarily something that I have to tolerate or accept, but rather understand the difference between those who settle and those who are too embarrassed to confess they went the wrong way, versus those who understand that I am not going to sell my soul for status or clout or, a movie deal, an album deal, a book cover deal, or, a biography or whatever the case may be. I'm not gonna, lie, cheat, and steal and participate in demonic rituals, attempting to harvest and steal other people's energy in order for me to be able to excel and get ahead. I'm not going to do those things just to live a comfortable, lavish lifestyle. So when I hear people try to incorporate the fact that, it's all good, that we're all incorporated and we're all one, and it's meant for us to, accept, insofar as forgiving and releasing, yes, that's a thing. Accepting a demon for being a demon, that's a thing. Knowing that there are those who will never change. They are who they are what they are, and some people will change. But there are some at the core that are corrupted, wicked, and evil, and you can't expect them to change. Those who, go through a period of growth spurts or, have to learn to become a better person or figuring their way out through life. That's different than being completely corrupted at the core, being soulless and not having the wherewithal to turn around and change course, or to even have the curiosity to search, to want to find, to want to evolve and elevate. There are those who made specific choices in the community, entire communities who decided to sell their soul for greed and atrocious, weak-minded, evil, wicked, evil deeds. And they're happy with the choice they made. Had they reached the level of success of getting paid and destroying innocent people's lives, they would have no problem. They would not turn around and reflect one bit on their actions and what they participated in. Only when universal law of reciprocity, universal principles, and the divine is showing them, a greater perspective that what they did was wrong and evil, that they now see that they have a reason to be nervous or upset with themselves or the choices they made. And most of the time, individuals and people and soulless individuals like that, they don't really reflect from an honest standpoint. They don't reflect from a standpoint of honesty, of they messed up, they made a mistake, they made the wrong choice. Because usually there's something corrupted within their mind and in their spirit where they are only capable of mimicking and mocking normal behavior. They experience embarrassment, they experience shame, they experience, the petty, spiteful, angry feelings of not succeeding at all costs. But to have that compassion and that empathy and that ability to relate to others' pain and struggle, and the fact that, or them being able to acknowledge the work that somebody else put in to get where they are, opposed to them just looking at the finished product, opposed to them looking at somebody else's life and somebody else's blessings and thinking to themselves, this person must have put in or went through a great deal of turmoil and struggle and strife, and actually put the honest effort in to get where they are now, to have received the blessings, and that it wasn't just handed to them. They made the necessary sacrifices and they had the discipline necessary to pull themselves up. No, but most envious, hateful, spiteful, jealous devils and people who join these demonic cults and coven, these sellout clowns, these bullies who are miserable and want to create demise in other people's lives. They only look at the finished product, or they look at what is aligned for a person at the end of their road of discipline and struggle. And they say, I want what they have, or I want what they're aligned to get, and I don't want them to have it because I want it. You have a whole community who thought it was a good idea to come together and stalk and harass and be weirdos and weak-minded sellout clowns, and thought it was a good idea to create upheavals and destruction in innocent people's lives, just because they felt they could do so by way of the positions and the titles and the resources that they had, that put them in a position to be abusive, to misappropriate funds, to tell lies, to misuse their honor. See, most of these titles supposed to come with a great deal of respect and honor and trustworthiness, and most of these clowns and devils violated on every level the trust, honor, and respect that came with their positions and titles. Be it public servants, politicians, corrupt law enforcement, judges, magistrates, attorneys, clergy, reverends, pastors, imams, sheikhs, supervisors, managers within the community, corporations, businesses, fraternities, worshipful masters, deacons, etc. The whole community lost their mind and became unhinged and thought it was funny. They thought it was an adventure to travel down this path of cowardice, wicked and evil, atrocious deeds. And now they want to hide and cover up what they participated in. But it's too late for that. Had they took heed to the warnings and adhered to the warnings of the divine, the angels, the ancestors, everything they don't believe in because they don't see it with their physical eyes, they would have had the opportunity to walk away. But because they refused to shut it down and they wanted to win at all costs and absolutely destroy an innocent person's life after defaming them and lying on them and driving them into isolation and homelessness, such cruel, evil-minded people would drive a person who is well capable of supporting themselves financially and have a whole plethora of skills and talents where they can support themselves. Yet these cowards and bullies will stalk and commit federal stalking across state lines and attempt to block a person from supporting themselves financially. They want to see them in isolation. They want to drive them into homelessness. This is something they want to see and desire and participate in. How much of a coward, a bully and clown can you be to want that, to desire that within your spirit, within your heart, and in your mind? And now there's a great reckoning that's here. It's not even coming, it's here. And though it has not fully unraveled, they're already upset and nervous and scared. But they can feel the energy in the air. They know they have to contend with what they participated in. They know they have to answer to the hardships they caused. So when I hear people and see people playing games, attempting to explain away how it's no big deal, it's all in our minds, we all had it wrong and we had the wrong perception. These are cowards who messed up and they're afraid to confess because they're far too deep on the wrong end. And even when they gain moments of clarity, somehow, some way, energetic manipulation or otherwise, they lose that clarity by the next day, within the same day, several hours, because the manipulators they're around who they refuse to walk away from is able to pull them and reel them back in. So even when they gain clarity that they're around the wrong group of people or they stumbled into the wrong group by way of their choice and actions and inability to use their discernment, they lose they lose the moment of clarity. Like, oh wow, I'm waking up, and then the devils and demons around them pull them right back in. That clarity is gone. Energetic manipulation, slipped in something in their food or drink, or just being in their ear crying and whining, convincing them to hang in there. Let's keep doing this evil, wicked, cowardly deeds and actions. And, one day soon, by way of our delusions and illusions, we'll have a positive outcome. We're going to get the money that we tried to steal. We're going to be able to form a cord and tap back into their energy. These devils don't know when to stop. They don't know when to repent. They don't know when to say, this is it, it's over, enough is enough. Once they are marked for judgment by the angels and seen by the ancient overseers in the universe, there is no escaping, there is no hiding, there is no running, there is no putting your head under a rock, there is no hiding in the closet. You're now marked. It doesn't matter what you say, what you do, what you think. It doesn't matter. There's a reckoning that must and will unfold, no matter who your corrupt buddy is, no matter what their titles is, no matter what their positions is, no matter how much money they got, no matter what departments they work for. It does not matter. You idiots don't seem to understand that you are not the end all be all, and that we were all created by a divine source that has the final decision and reckoning. And because of this, you all must learn this, necessary lesson. I was going to add painful, but I don't know if it's going to be painful to y'all. I'm pretty sure it might be, because that would be inclusive of the same pain and misery that you wanted to see innocent souls experience, unjustifiably, by the way. There was no reason to drive people into isolation and homelessness. There was no reason to interfere into people's jobs and careers and love life and relationships. There was no reason to recruit a whole army of dummies and sellouts to stalk and be weirdo stalkers, hiding behind trees and bushes and standing over people's shoulders, eavesdropping and air hustling. There was no reason to use military-grade technology frequencies that would disturb a person's overall health and well-being. And you idiots participated not understanding that that same technology will be used on you and your loved ones. So you help perfect technology that's going to be used on you and your loved ones. They might tell you that it's only sleepy frequencies, but that's just the beginning base frequencies that lead into other harmful frequencies. And then you teach your own children and teenagers to be devils and stalkers and weirdos and narcissistic sociopaths. You cowards hide behind your own children. And you teach them that it's okay to step on other people's toes to get ahead in life. And you recruit them in these demonic cults and covens and have them being fake and phony, acting and pretending in plain sight like the Truman Show. How low can you go? How low can you be? And these clowns will never confess. The same clowns who made it clear they don't have a heart for love and yielding and being humble unto divine, guidance, and that they don't really see themselves a part of, a divine collective, only to turn around to weasel their way into now all of a sudden use keywords to include themselves within the collective. And you know why they do this? Because they want the protection, the healing, and they want the prestigiousness of associating them with themselves, with the divine. Meanwhile, you can catch them on many occasions damn near denouncing being a part of collective, damn near denouncing being a light worker, damn near denouncing being a chosen one, damn near denouncing, walking this divine path with purpose and vigor and fervor and zeal. Now all of a sudden they just casually slip it in. I'm part of the collective. I'm here to do God's work, and it's meant for us to understand that we're all inclusive, the evil ones too. No. And then they want to quote scriptures. The scriptures say the wages of sin is death, and that you must decide what side you're going to be on. Those who are marked for judgment, or those who are putting in the work to excel and to ascend. It's no 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's no we're all one happy family. Before they got cast down, they were seen as family. But once they got cast down, they no longer seen as family that you fuck with, that you party and intermingle with. Those are the ones that's trying to set you up, block your ascension. And you want to tell me that it's all good, it's all in my mind, and that it's all meant for us to be, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, can't be decisive. We just living our life blowing in the wind instead of having the discipline to be decisive and make the necessary choices. That's going to allow us to be seen as worthy souls, to earn our way back home amongst the stars. Nah, there's a group that's marked for judgment that cannot ascend the higher realms anymore. And they will be stuck here. They are the ones that will experience the calamities and catastrophes, the solar flares and the meteorites. They are the ones who will not have the guidance. They are the ones that is told, don't look up. Meanwhile, there are those who will be safely escorted to where they need to be off this planet for a time, and then brought back after there's a great reset to be able to raise the frequency and harmony of this planet and put it back where it needs to be, opposed to all of these clowns and bullies who want to destroy it. Fake nature lovers who pop up at the park just to be stalkers and weirdos, just to create noise campaigns and disturbances for those who truly do love nature, just to pop up in the park as fake nature lovers to immediately light a blunt or a cigarette, especially around people that's praying and meditating or doing whatever it is to do to ground themselves. And so, no, we're not all incorporated and it's all good. We can both have intermingle with 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We have to be decisive, and we have to truly put the work in and be honest with ourselves, let alone anybody else. And in doing so, that means that there has to be a separation from those who will stand over your shoulder, eavesdropping and recording your content as you're making it, in order so they can steal your content, in order so they could contact their buddies at these platforms to try to shadow ban them and have them, you know, commit censorship laws, break censorship laws, block the truth from being exposed. All of the things that they participated in, all the weak-minded evil deeds, there's a reckoning coming. Can you imagine a whole community thinking just because they had the numbers to hide behind each other and they had corrupt buddies in the justice system, the medical system, etc., and all the lies and defamation to ruin an innocent person's life, thinking that there wasn't going to be consequences or a reckoning? Can you imagine now they're realizing that they're not the end all be all, and that there are forces and sources that is greater than all, that exist, that they never really took the time to accept or believe in? And now they're beginning to see that the little entities and demons that they do spell work and commission to put binding spells on people are not the ultimate authority, and that even those entities and demons must yield to higher angels and archangels and ancient overseers that are way more powerful than they little entities, specters and spirits, devils and demons. So you can sell your soul and join a demonic coven and a demonic cult and play with your little demons, but there are archangels that are more powerful than your little demons. There are ancient overseers that are more powerful than your entities you call on and you summon. And even your head fallen angel know that he has to get permission before he touch an anointed one. But you dummies don't know that. And now you have to understand there's a reckoning. Because if your head fallen angel understands he has to get permission, what made you think that you could keep going indefinitely without shutting it down, wanting to win at all costs? Without an expiration date, without walking away, without shutting it down, without yielding. You did so many evil things trying to win a one-sided battle, a one-sided competition with someone who was never in competition with you, and you still failed. There's a reckoning. There is a reckoning. There are consequences for everything you idiots have participated in. You don't understand. Most of you have placed generational curses on your entire bloodline. After you're long gone, your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren will suffer behind the choices you decided to participate in. All because you were greedy and evil and selfish and envious and jealous, and you didn't know how to leave well enough alone. Well, again, whether you believe it or not, whether you accept it or not, it doesn't matter. There are those of us who can confidently say with all confidence that whatever I say will come to pass. It don't matter how much spell work you pay for. It don't matter what island you run to. It don't matter what mountain you climb. It don't matter what dungeon you try to hide in. It don't matter how fake and phony you act in society. Whatever is being said here will come to pass. And that there is a reckoning for everything y'all participated in. The only thing you can do is put your affairs in order. The smartest thing you could have done was confess. But many of you, all of you, will turn on each other, flip on each other, and give each other up by the time it's all said and done anyway.